What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So now that spring practice is basically upon us, with most teams in the nation getting started now, figured it would be a good time to look at some of the biggest quarterback battles facing teams heading into next season, with this video focusing on the LSU quarterback situation, which to me is very intriguing because of the newly added transfer quarterback Jaden Daniels from Arizona State, which really changes the dynamics of how this position battle is going to go. So let's go ahead and get into it. The LSU quarterback room is actually quite crowded now that Daniels has transferred in, and there are four guys who all have a somewhat reasonable chance at landing the starting job, although it's really, I think, going to be a two-horse race by the time it all comes down to it at the end. But we'll go over the four main players here. Obviously, Jaden Daniels is number one there. And then you have guys like redshirt freshman Garrett Nussmeier. Incoming true freshman Walker Howard is my third guy. And then last but not least in any way is the fifth-year senior Miles Brennan. The favorite at this point seems to be Daniels, as he has NFL-level talent as well as a wealth of experience to draw from, and he's a super exciting playmaker dating back to his time at Arizona State. Daniels is a legit threat in the running game as well as the passing game. He has the ability to take over a game all on his own, and he also has enough experience to be considered a guy who can likely walk in and earn a starting job no problem because he's seen a lot of football already, albeit in the Pac-12. And it makes sense that he would be the favorite if you look at all of the talent he has, plus all of the experience he has when compared to the rest of the guys on the roster. Nobody else has a good of a combination of the two. There are guys who are as talented as him, and there are guys with more experience than him, but not a good combo of both like he has. However, it is not at all a done deal for Daniels to be the starter, and his primary competition is going to be from Miles Brennan, who is now a fifth-year senior. Brennan was expected to be the likely starter before Daniels transferred in, and that is largely due to the extreme amount of experience he has on the field and with the LSU program as a whole. He's also a decently talented quarterback who's been a quality starter in the SEC West and is nothing to sneeze at as a starting quarterback. He split time last season with Max Johnson and managed to put up 1,112 yards, 11 touchdowns, and only 3 interceptions, which is a very good touchdown-to-interception ratio for him. And he's the kind of quarterback who will play well enough to keep you in most every game, and he doesn't make the kinds of mistakes that are going to cost you in that game either. And he's sort of a game manager in some respects. Despite that sort of being considered an insult in today's age, I don't mean it that way at all. His ability to make the good reads, make the correct decision, is his greatest weapon as a quarterback, and it really, really works hand in hand with his experience as a fifth-year senior. However, he lacks the pure talent to be a game-changing player, and when compared side by side to Jaden Daniels, that talent disparity is going to become obvious pretty quickly. I feel like Daniels also has a similar amount of experience to Brennan as well, and so that edge that Brennan would get from the experience that he has is sort of negated. And, you factor in that Daniels has a lot more talent as well, and it really makes it start to look difficult for Brennan to get the job. And this isn't to say that Brennan won't win the job, because he's definitely good enough to do so, but the odds aren't in his favor, and it seems much more likely that LSU is going to use him as a tool to help push Jaden Daniels in that starting role and get the best out of him through, intense competition and practice. That makes me move on to redshirt freshman Garrett Nussmeier, who's in my opinion the least likely candidate to earn the starting job. Nussmeier was a top 100 quarterback recruit in last year's recruiting class, and he got some playtime last year as a true freshman, and he's certainly a talented quarterback in his own right, but he's lacking experience by a wide margin at this point, and he honestly isn't more talented than Daniels either, making it really hard for me to see him making a push at the starting job, or even really the number 2 job, as Miles Brennan has so much more experience than he does and was firmly above him on last year's depth chart. I don't see much reason for that to change here. Nussmeier was also rather unimpressive in his limited playing time last season as well, which makes it even less likely, in my opinion, that he's going to be a real player for the starting job here. And I don't want to seem like I'm coming down on the guy, because I'm not trying to do that, but he just doesn't have the experience to match Brennan or Daniels, and his talent is not nearly enough to make up for that either, so it's really unlikely for him to get the job, in my opinion. Which brings me to the last contributing name here, and that is incoming true freshman Walker Howard. Howard was at one point a composite 5-star despite finishing as a 4-star quarterback, and he's considered to be a little bit more talented than Nussmeier and likely Miles Brennan as well, and he's likely comparable in talent to Jaden Daniels. However, he's going to face many of the same issues that Nussmeier is, and that's mainly just being a complete lack of experience at the college level. His talent alone, regardless of how great it may be, is almost guaranteed to not be enough to unseat Daniels or Brennan. They both just have way too much more experience than he does. That's going to give them a huge leg up. And while I'm higher on Howard than I am on Nussmeier, it's only by a pretty small margin. And I just don't see either one of them making a real push at the starting position this year. Now, next year, you'll likely see both of those two guys battling out for the job, but it's just too early for both of them right now, in my opinion. And I think Daniels and Brennan are going to be the main contributors there. I see it as more of a two-horse race between those two, with Brennan being the more veteran player and Jaden Daniels being the more talented transfer. And I think Jaden Daniels is going to ultimately come out on top here in the end. I do expect Miles Brennan to give him a hard push, which I think will just end up making Jaden Daniels even better as a starter to start the season for LSU. This battle could drag out into fall camp, but I fully expect that a starter will have been named by the start of the season, most likely option being Daniels. Brennan will likely be the number 2 quarterback, and that might cause him to transfer so that he can play for his last season of college football, but who knows how all that's going to shake out. I obviously don't know for sure either way there. And then Howard and Nussmeier will likely be the number 3 and number 4 quarterbacks, rounding out the depth chart, which would make that one of the deeper quarterback rooms in the country next season for LSU, which will be interesting to monitor going forward. Anyway, that'll do it for this one. Let me know down below in the comment section what you guys think about this quarterback battle, who you think is going to win it, and why. Also, if you've made it this far in the video, go ahead and leave a like on it because it helps out the channel tremendously. And subscribe for more college football content in the future, as I will continue to upload very regularly going forward. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.